Sometimes you just gotta go beast mode. Ah!
I want you to watch what happens right here. I want you to look at this. And you be the judge. You be the judge. I'm not saying anything. Alright. Now, based off what you just saw, when you go to the taco truck, are you getting the green salsa? Are you getting the red salsa? Do you ever just mix them together? Be honest with me. That's what I thought. I can't hear you. What you're seeing right here is invasions in Elden Ring. Garonk's Beast Claw is the wake up. Who knew? Who knew? Beep 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 beep. Beep 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 beep. What is that, babe?
Oh, it's just my alarm clock. I gotta get up and go to work.
Beep 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 beep. Except instead of a subtle beep 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 beep, it's a giant wolf monster driving its fist into the ground and then pulling it out with such force that the earth around it is removed. And instead of waking up to go to work, you die. So right about now, you're probably asking yourself, what level is this build? This build is level 70 something. And I will show the build off. I will show you all those numbers. I got a little vigor. I got a little mind. I got a little endurance. I got a little strength. I got a little dexterity. I got a little intelligence. I got a little faith. I got a little arcane number. And you can look at all of them at one time. I'm just gonna take the hood off around this build right here and just let you really get your eyeballs in there and just see. I'm gonna show you the build later. I'll show you the talismans and all that stuff. You know, I don't know off the top of my head. All right, I got so many builds I just forget, and then I start editing these videos. All right, and when I start editing these videos, let me tell you something. That's not what's on my mind, okay? I can't be thinking about things like, oh, what number? I don't know, dude. That's why it's at the end of the video. So you just keep your eyes peeled, all right? Keep your head on a swivel. It'll be here before you know it. But this is what I can tell you about the build. This right here, I made this build. I wanted to make like a beastly paladin, all right? So like a paladin for God. But in Elden Ring, you know, like the god, you know, that's the demigods, right? So I went with, I wanted to use the McKellen Knight Sword, and I was like, that's hype. I'm going to use this weapon for my Beast Paladin. And I did, and it was hype, and I did enjoy it, all right? But then I was like, all right, you know what I haven't done? I haven't looked for combos yet. So I started looking for some combos, and I was like, all right, so cool. Here's what I learned. On a good connection, Garonk's Beast Claw, like up close, point blank range, true combos with Spin Slash and Sword Dance. Those are the two I like. You could play around with, you know, whichever ones you like, and you could see if it works. You know, the answer is it might. Let me tell you about this invasion right here, alright? This is special. See, when I invade, I just stand out there in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes with this character, I'll stand at Garonk's temple, you know, out there in Caelid, the Beast Sanctum. I'll stand right there and I'll invade with this character. And then sometimes what I do, and I do this with all my characters, is I go to the vendor who sells ballista bolts. Alright? So if they're selling, you know, lightning bolts or explosive bolts, those two, I stand right outside where they hang out. And I just stand right next to them. And I invade from there. And when I win the invasion, I go back to them and I just spend all the runes that I made on those ballista bolts, and that's what I do. So what I'm getting at is, you know, all my invasions where I end up at, it's random, because when you use the invasion finger, it gives you the choice between invading nearby or nearby and far away. And I always pick nearby and far away. And so what you're seeing right here, this is an impromptu lore invasion. Because here we are, the Beast Paladin, the Mikola, Beast Paladin, using all those beastly magics, and the McKellen Nightsword. And we are invading with this other badass wolf dude, alright? The one that Ronnie wants you to fight in her quest. And so that's what's up, that's pretty cool to get an invasion randomly in this place while this person was fighting this particular enemy. And not only did it happen this time, it happened one more time on top of it. And both of those invasions were really something else in terms of, just being cool. And both of these invasions ended up, being pretty great. They get the Wizard Blue as a sidekick to show up. I got Wolfman as my sidekick showing up, and it's 2 wizards versus 2 wolfy soldiers. And I don't think you need to even ask yourself how this one ends. You know that those wolves, they travel in packs, Arisen. Dragon's Dogma 2 just got announced, and I'm excited to play that. I played Dragon's Dogma like last year, or maybe like 2 years ago. It's the first time I ever played it. And, I really enjoyed that game. You fight these big monsters, and you crawl up on top of them. And, like, you climbing up on the monsters, and you're, like, just beating the hell out of it, stabbing it, whatever you got. And you got these special moves. You can be a wizard if you want to. You've got, like, your little backup homie who's, like, ride or die for you. When I played Dragon's Dogma 2, I named my ride or die homie, I named her Spaghetti. And she was this like little 3-foot tall goblin looking woman. And I called her Spaghetti. And she would always say, "Wolves hunt in packs, Arisen." Like that. That's the way she talked. Living bones that move on their own. She would say stuff like that. And that was, we called her Spaghetti. And, she was hype. I really liked Spaghetti. And, I was streaming the game when I was playing it, and everybody loved her. Everybody kept saying, "I love that she talks so much." Everybody kept saying, "I hope she says more. I hope she talks about those skeletons more. I hope she talks about them wolves more." And, she was happy to oblige and just tell me all the time about how wolves hunt in packs. Well, not this wolf. This wolf is flying solo, baby. This is the one wolf. You know what I'm saying? One wolf. And that's what's up. And that's how you can tell too that this is a real wolf soldier right here. I was not prepared for the amount of people who were like, "Oh, you made a furry." It's like, why? No, like she's just supposed to be a wolf. You know what I mean? Like she's not supposed to be an attractive wolf. She's like a wolf soldier, and she's not someone who wants to be a wolf monster. She just is a wolf monster, But people just don't get it. Their minds have been poisoned, by the internet. And, that's a messed up thing to have happen. Sort of like how my mind was poisoned by the voice actors in Dragon's Dogma. Do y'all remember the blacksmith? "The master works all, you can't go wrong." I'll never forget that. For as long as I live. I'll be 115 years old in a damn old folks home, and the orderly's gonna come in there, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, today's the day when you get your new pillow. It's been 4 months. It's time for you to get a new pillow. Do you want the red one or the blue one?" And I'm gonna look him dead in the eye with no life left behind my eyes, and I'm gonna say, "Master works all, you can't go wrong." Y'all were telling me last time I made a video about I made a video about this build, and y'all were saying, "Saint, you should use the Beast Claw hammer." And I was like, "Oh, you are right." Cause see, here's the thing though. Look, I made a video about this build like a month or 2 ago. Okay? Before that, I made a video about this build when I very first made it, and that's been like, you know, maybe almost close to a year ago. It's got to be close to a year. And when I made that original video, I used the Beast Claw hammer a little bit. But some of y'all saw the second video, never saw the first, right? So I thought, you know, I should let people know that, yeah, you're right. The Beast Claw hammer would fit on the build. Not only would it fit on the build, it's on there. I use it. I just didn't happen to use it in any of the invasions that I showed off. You know, that's just the way it is sometimes. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know. But look at this right here. Little aspect of the Crucible tail. Did you know it gave you that much hyper armor? Because it does. It gives you so much hyper armor. And you just start spinning and twirling that big old tail. And it's cool because it's like an animal sort of spell, and that goes with all the other animal qualities that this build has going on. Look at the absolute use of Beast Claw right there after the Stone of Garank. The Stone of Garank is like, that's the move. You can use that as like your opening spell, and if you use it as like your opening spell, you know, it combos into stuff, okay? Or you can use it as the roll catch, and then it combos into stuff. God dang, dude. What does this build not do? I'll tell you. It doesn't not look beastly all the time, every time. And that's all there is to it when you really think about it. It's a beastly build played by a beastly person, and it looks beastly. In fact, I might rename this build into Beastly. L-E-E. L-E-E. Lee. Like Lee's famous fried chicken. You know, not everybody knows about that one. You have to be a real fried chicken aficionado to know about that one. And let me tell you, as a young boy from Kentucky, I am on that fried chicken aficionado mailing list. I'm not even lying to you right now. Hang on. Let me look up today's date. May 26th, 2023. You know what I just literally made myself for dinner tonight? Cabbage. But guess what? Fried chicken with it. That's right. Some roasted potatoes, carrots, cabbage, and fried chicken. Cooked it all up my damn self. Alright? And it was delicious. I hit it with some of the Tony Sacheries. First of all, you take the chicken, you know, you wash it, you pat it dry, you pound it out a little bit, and you get it kind of flat. And then you season it. I hit it with that Tony Sacheries. I hit it with some Nashville hot fried chicken seasoning. I hit it with a little bit of some Caribbean jerk. And then I pour a little bit of pickle juice. The juice of a pickle. I pour a little bit of that brine into a Ziploc bag, and I just let that sit. Just let that marinate like that. Don't even touch it for a while. Alright? Oil up your pan. You know, let the oil get hot. Not too hot. We're talking medium heat. And then you just fry that sucker. You just fry that sucker. I do about 9 minutes and then flip it and then another 9. And then take it off and let it rest. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. And that's some Beast Lee fried chicken, but not Lee's fried chicken. I've heard that Lee's fried chicken uses the same old school recipe as Colonel Sanders, the Kentucky Fried Chicken. But I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. You know, I don't mess around too much with these fast food damn fried chicken places. Okay? I make it myself. I'm from Kentucky. I know how to fry chicken. I am Kentucky Fried Chicken. Alright, we got another lore invasion going on right here. And this host is slippery with the claws. Always behind me all the time. You got a blue showing up. You got somebody poisoning the damn Wolfman. Alright. Thankfully the Wolfman coming to my rescue there, stopping old Fat Jody. That's what I was calling him, Fat Jody. And then I'm trying to take bullets for my wolf friend. I just need this person to chill for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just hard. You know, look at this. I'm out of flasks, and I just need, you know, a damn miracle is what I need. Boom, boom, get them off me. Here comes the flaming strike, but the big whiff. And here they don't know it. They think that the homie is all messed up. He's not messed up. You're messed up. I hit him with that heavy attack with the thrust R2 of that long sword, that Lord Sworn straight sword. And just like that, he come in and hit him with the combo to finish it off. They died to the destined death, black flame, whatever you want to call that right there, that corpse wax cutter. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what lore, you know, you prescribe to. And whatever it is, you know, it's none of my business. That's between you and God. All right? But I just know that Fat Jody got smacked in the mouth and then died to it. All right? And that's just, you know, pour one out for Fat Jody if you're so inclined. But me, you know, I'll show up at his funeral and hit the deuces in front of his whole dead family. And I'll just look at him. I got my sunglasses on, though, so they can't see my eyes. They can't see my eyes. And they think, oh, his eyes must be bloodshot from crying. They're not bloodshot from crying. All right? That's not the way it goes down. Old Fat Jody's funeral must have been on 420. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even smoke. I don't even smoke like that. But, you know, when I heard Fat Jody rolled up out of here, I had to roll up in here. Get out of here, Fat Jody. I'm going to go ahead and read some viewer questions right here, if that's all right with y'all. This one says, Sane Riot, how do you come up with such creative builds and build ideas? I try, but every time I just end up making the same build that I saw a streamer use. My mom's new boyfriend took away my college money, so I think I'm going to be spending more time playing Elden Ring. Sincerely, Coro4MU something. Well, I'll tell you like this, Coro. What I like to do is I live by a little tenant, all right, and it's the lieutenant. And the lieutenant is, don't be a bitch. So I hope that answered your question. If you have any more questions, feel free to send them to your mom's new boyfriend. I'm sure he'll marry her one of these days. I'm telling you what, I really like the Lord Sworn straight sword and all the cool combos on this build. You know, I really liked playing around with that. I think Stone of Garunk is pretty dope. I've already, the wheels in my head are spinning and turning. I got some ideas for other spell casting builds that I want to do. But I gots to say, the McKellen Knight Sword is so good on this build. It's so much better in terms of damage. And then once you hit Sacred Blade, you get a buff. And it's even better damage than the Lord Sworn. So it's hard to give that up. You know, it's hard to give up all of that extra damage, especially when you're doing invasions. And I just love that heavy attack so much. It's so cool. It's such a cool heavy attack. It's sort of the faith equivalent of the Carrion Knight Sword, according to the item description in the game. It's got that unique heavy attack. But whereas the Carrion Knight Sword is capable of blocking attacks, the McKellen Knight Sword, not in PvP, but in the game, in PvE, you can use that a little bit to sort of crouch under some attacks that some of these bosses do. Some of these bigger bosses, you can just duck underneath them, you know, using that heavy attack, and then charge it up. And then, you know, you wear the Axe Talisman, those charged up R2s, they add up. That's, you know, that's real damage. I do like the combos with, you know, the Stone of Garunk, I do, but it's hard to get away from the McKellen Knight Sword. I really do prefer it, I think, over the Lord Sworn. You know, maybe that might change if the damage was a little better with the Lord Sworn, But the McKellen Knight Sword is a weapon. I talk about this a lot. It's in Elden Ring. It's a weapon that lies to you. You look at that weapon and you think, oh, it's a faith weapon. It's not a faith weapon at all. The only thing faith weapon about this is like the Ash of War damage and the buff that you get, right? It is straight up a quality weapon. It is a strength dex weapon with a faith requirement. It does get, I'm not saying the faith is useless, but the strength and the dex is way more prominent a part of that weapon's scaling than the faith is. But if you're level 150 or something and you're running 60 strength and 60 faith, yeah, sure, rock it. It'll do you good. But if you just pick that weapon up and look at it, you might say to yourself, oh, this is a strength faith weapon or a dex faith weapon, and it's not. It's a strength dex weapon with some faith requirement on it. Look at this absolute dismantling. All right, this is watching a dude blindfolded take apart a damn pistol, running R2, Beast Claw, roll catch R1. What are you talking about? Where are we right now? Methodical. The surgery that just took place, is out of control. That man he went to college for 12 years and then he did a residency, and he's a surgeon. All right, Dr. Han, he's a surgeon. All right. So I'm using the Godfrey icon right here. I'm gonna admit something to y'all that's a little silly. The Godfrey icon on here is nice for Garunk's Beast Claw and the Beast Claw incantations. It's good for those. It's not doing much else for me. But I sat there with Millicent at the Grace, and I was just like, do I really want to kill her for like an extra 10? I just couldn't do it. I know that's foolish and silly, but I've killed that stupid character, 115 times for all these builds that I've made, and I'm pretty sure I would have to kill her in order to get Gowry to give me the faith talisman, the incantation talisman. And I was just like, screw it. I just couldn't be bothered. But I considered it. And obviously, I think you'd be better off using that talisman than you would Godfrey's. I mean, you could use both if you wanted. I'm using the 2 fingers talisman for the 5 extra faith. And, that way, like I said, this build's level 76, I think, or something like that. So that talisman saves me 5 levels that I don't have to put in faith. Also of note, I'm using Radigan's icon, Radigan's Soar Seal on this build. And it is, if an over-leveled Phantom with like a Dark Moon Greatsword, that they made a build for it. If they hit you, oh my god, it will absolutely mess you up wearing that Soar Seal. But for the most part, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I thought that the Soar Seal at level 70 something or whatever was just gonna be ding dong brutal. Now that I've told you I'm wearing it, go back and watch these invasions and look at how much damage I take, and I think it'll surprise you, perhaps. Maybe you might be a Soar Seal denier. I was a Soar Seal denier for a long ass time. Like if I was going over like level 30, I wasn't wearing it, right? But I gave it another shot. I gave it another chance, and I wanted to try it out on these builds that were not quite level 80, but close to it. And I mean, you do feel it. I'm not gonna lie, but like I was talking about with that Dark Moon Greatsword, I remember like one of the very first invasions I did with this build when I turned the game on. I got hit with a Moonbeam from the Dark Moon Greatsword by an over-leveled Phantom. And, I mean, it was like 60% of my health off that one attack. And I'm sure that they had a good build, because, you know, you have to do that type of damage. But I also know that, you know, maybe 40% of my health, you know, but 60% definitely felt like, okay, the source seal is adding up right here with this. Don't you love how it's 25 minutes into a 26-minute long video before I start giving you any sort of real, you know, commentary that is relevant to the build at hand? Isn't that something? Isn't that wild? I was thinking about it the other day, and how one of my least favorite things about YouTube, Elden Ring, Dark Souls community stuff is an invader will come up with some, you know, something cool and make a video about it and think like, oh, this is gonna be good, and then it just gankers immediately start using it. You know what I mean? That always drove me nuts. And so I told myself, I'm just not gonna say anything useful in a YouTube video ever. I'm just gonna ramble and say random nonsense. And people who are smart enough to pick up on what I'm doing can just pick up on it. And that's been the play. Y'all like fried chicken? You know I do. Until next time, later, y'all.